Good morning, everybody. We're going to start straight in. This is a voiceover today, so you can see the drop-down transom bathing platform. It's a very large area, and the Dyneema lines going all the way through. There is a spot to attach your bathing ladder to get in and out of the water. The ELAN E6 is probably one of my favourite boats and one of my favourite production boats that have been built in the last year or so. This was launched a year ago. This is actually an option, so both port and starboard. Starboard side, you can see here, has a cool box underneath, and the port side, if you want, you can have it set up as a barbecue or just keep as a storage lazarette. Twin helm, twin rudder. This is a vacuum sealed GRP hull. Composite bulkheads. And something unusual actually on the keel side of this boat, it has a T-shaped keel. If I can find an image for you, it will come up across the screen. Both starboard and port side, you have steps on the heel. This boat, the cockpit or the ergonomics of the cockpit, ELAN had help from an Olympic sailing team to get it as ergonomic and efficient as possible, because this is a performance cruiser. Composite wheels, really nice. Jeffer steering, and as you can see, you'll see in a second, B&G chart plotter. Let me know if you like this style of bow thruster, which is an option on this boat. And then over on the side of this pedestal, you know me guys, I'm a big fan of pedestals. There's a large repeater for your wind instruments, depth and so on, and autopilot just down on the side, because most of the helming you're going to be sat here on the side of the coamings anyway. A Harken 2-speed electric self-tailing winch. And as you can see, you can also use this winch double up to move your mainsail track traveller. A piece of equipment I love, as you know. Forwards, you'll see you have another Harken self-tailing winch, and later on when we get to see, you'll see you also have two more Harkens forwards. It's well set out for performance cruising. It is also designed, as you'll see on the interior, that if you want to use it as a charter boat, you can. But one of the things I love about mainsail track system is you get more downforce on the boom and better performance. In between both helms there is another lazarette which you can keep a life raft in if you wish. I'd rather have it strapped to the back and use this as extra storage, whether it's for lifelines and so on. In the cockpit area, you'll see some stainless steel rings, and this is for actually adding a cockpit table, for comfort when at anchor or on mooring and in the marina. You can have the seats decked out in teak or flexi teak if you wish. It's entirely up to you. There are a lot of options, and something I love which they've thought about is there are drink holders by both bench seats. Out of all the production yacht companies at the moment, ELAN, I believe, as far as I'm concerned, my opinion, they're doing a better job of keeping their DNA. They're a better quality boat than some of the other production companies on the market. Coming forward, you have a spray hood, and this little track runner here is if you have a granny's bonnet too. It holds the feet and the clips for it, so you can adjust that forwards and backwards. Deck management system, so all your lines, sheets, halyards, whatever you want to call them, because there's always a discussion over this. You shouldn't call them lines. Lines is easy. Everything runs back to the cockpit, whether it's your furling lines, Genoa sheets, etc. Both starboard and port you have access to marinas or pontoons, pretty standard on boats. And then coming forward midships you have pop-up cleats, stainless steel, pretty good. You know, if it was me midships, I would always have a second set of cleats. It was really handy for spring lines, but that's just me, my preference. Very, very nice lines on this boat. Handholds going all the way forward, and you do have non-slip moulded in on the GRP. I don't know if you saw there, but your Genoa tracks were just down on the companionway, you know, walkway forward. Fantastic skylight and flush hatches that open both ways above the saloon, and your mousing lines, because if the mast was on here, as you can see, your spin lock deck management system and your halyards, reefs, etc. will run all the way forward. And the one thing I do like about ELAN, which a lot of the yachts don't do, is all the hatches all the way forwards there where your lines run underneath. You can actually remove them if there's a problem of any sort. So well done, ELAN. Nice wide walkways, non-slip all the way, and flush hatches. Coming up to the business end, you have a built-in furler to the bowsprit. It's a big, nice bowsprit. Something the yacht manufacturers are doing at the moment, which I love. The bowsprits are wide enough to be able to walk out onto if you want to attach a Jenica, Code Zero, Spinnaker, whatever you wish. The only thing I don't like, I'm not a big fan of underdeck furlers if they're manual. I've had an experience with another make of boat, not ELAN, it was an Arcona 40, an older one. It could have just needed maintenance. But either way, we always had to go forward, so someone had to go forward to help pull the line through to furl and unfurl the sail, and it was annoying. As you can see, your electric feet control for your windlass, and it's a quick windlass, and your chain locker down below, and then just behind that you have a sail locker, loads of room for sails and fenders. Back in the cockpit by the companionway you have two Harken 45. This one is a 2-speed electric. You will see that lovely little device there by spin lock means that you can bring a line across to this winch, and the same with the left hand bank of clutches. If you want to, you can bring a line, halyard, sheet, whatever you want to call them. I just can't be bothered with the arguments anymore, across the electric winch. Just above the companionway you'll see there's a nice spot for having repeaters. I always think it's a nice thing to do. There I am going on about the bank of clutches again. ELAN have a little splashback down here by your companionway, which is quite good, you know. It's an idea, and then you have your washboards that drop down. You know my feelings about washboards. I wish that more designers would actually have them going down, slotting down into a groove. They're getting there slowly. As repeated again, be quite good, as this is a performance yacht. Tick the option to have some repeaters above, and then coming down the companionway steps, which are moulded GRP, and they have an absolutely superb non-slip matting on them. This is a detail I love. I think it's a great USP. You know, you're not having to worry about staining your timber companionway steps. Is that what you have? And then straight in onto the interior. I'm not going to talk too much for the interior. We're going to have some music coming on in a minute, but it is really, really well designed. There's an awful lot of light, and they've done I think, a really good job, as you can see here on the left hand side of your screen, matching up the grains on the veneers. There has been people talking and poo-pooing European production yacht manufacturers. Some have cheapened their process, some haven't. There are a couple of YouTubers that are actually American YouTubers that are causing a lot of problems for us over here in Europe, basically, for not having enough knowledge about the boats and then slagging them off before understanding the costs and the build process and so on, and how materials have changed over the years. Of course, yacht manufacturers, some are making it cheaper, but the most production yachts in the world are produced in Europe. You know, there's a system for, and I'm going to stand up for them. If something is cheap, I will tell you it's cheap, but as far as I'm concerned, ELAN are one of the best production boat builders at the moment. They're working hard to maintain their quality. I am not paid by ELAN. Didn't get paid by ELAN to do this. I'm not sponsored by them or anything else. I just like what they do. ELAN originally were built as performance boats and performance cruisers. They've worked hard to keep that DNA and to basically create a boat that can be chartered, can be enjoyed by families, and can be raced in regattas, and I think they're doing a really, really good job. As you can see here, the galley is pretty well set out and standard. Gimbal stoves, gas shut-offs. Not too keen about the plastic in the drawers, but I did like the drawer switches. How they were hand up to a handle of a big C with the drawers full, I don't know, but that's the way it goes. To give you an idea on some stats, the overall length of this boat is around 15.3 meters, which is 50 feet 2 inches long, and your actual hull length is 14.10 meters, which is 46 feet. Length of the waterline is 13.68 meters, 44 feet, and the beam is 4.49 meters. So she's quite beamy for a performance boat, which is 14 feet 9 inches if you're interested. Both starboard and port cabins on this version mirror one another. You have access to a mechanical space, either side reading lights. Ventilation into the cockpit, which is very important. Some quite sporty port lights. Both cabins were actually quite well insulated, and the panelling was really nicely done. Plenty of locker space. To give you an idea, you have two options for this boat: a 3 cabin or a 4 cabin options. Both options do come with 2 heads. The forward cabin so here you are on the port guest cabin. The forward cab, you'll see the 4th cabin. When we go forward, you'll see the heads is actually on the starboard side. The 4th cabin becomes a bunk on the starboard side within the owners or the VIP cabin, and that semi-island bed changes. If I can find some images, I'll put them up. And your heads becomes a wet heads and put over on the port side. It comes as standard with manual heads. This boat, you can have them upgraded to electric if you wish. Myself, I would always keep. I like manual heads. They're easier to fix. You don't have to worry about a motor or pump noises or anything like that. Your extraction pipes are larger diameter, so there's less worry about blockages. You know, you're flushing out. There's plenty of ventilation in this bathroom. The shower is nice and big. There's your washboards from your companionway, by the way, so it's quite a handy spot. They're not just floating around in the boat. It's a good place to put them. Anyway, moving on into the saloon, there are a couple of features I really love about this. You have a sea berth, both port and starboard, which is mega practical for a racing boat, and there are a couple of clever little tricks with this port side settee, which you'll see in just a second. There you go. So it has a fold over or pop up, whichever way you want to have a look at it, desk or nav station. So you can either sit facing forward or sit facing aft. There is plenty of space down in there for paper charts or books, and behind it access to the electronics. It's a neat solution and I really like it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Pretty standard stuff over on this side. You have your C zone electronics. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. You don't want me going through it all again, do you? B&G, VHF, you've got your fusion stereo there and other bits and pieces. See how easy that was? There you go. I like this boat and I'm not afraid to say it. Nice U-shaped settee on the starboard side. Both leaves of the tables pull out. You can easily get 6 to 8 around this table. It is massive. The camera's not doing it justice. And you have a drop down section which goes in for this chair on the starboard side, and then you put a cushion there. It turns it into a large double, if that's what you wish, for relaxing in the evening, having your gin and tonic, or just turning it into another double berth. Something that's really cool with this table, it's not just designed for design's sake. Those grooves are actually handholds for moving forward. They're nice deep fiddles, really easy to go, and then centrally you have a all important booze storage, because none of us sailors drink at all. As you can see here on your port side, you have your main switches for, you know, interior lights, deck lights, all that sort of stuff. Water pumps, switching over your electrics from shore power to battery. Pretty explanatory. If you guys would like me to go through that sort of stuff more, let me know in the comments below. They have USB lights all throughout the boat, which I think is really good with USB charging. And they will all turn to red light too. Electric connections for your mast. It's one level living on this boat, so nothing to step over to. And going into the owner's cabin, a large double island bed. On the starboard side, you'll see we've got the heads and separate shower. I'll have a look at that in a minute. A couple of overhead lockers, which is handy. There is a lot of storage on this boat, and you can see the grooves, or we've just flashed past the grooves there. That's actually where the bunk room would be, and then your head's put over onto the port side. A very large opening hatch forward. They've done a good job. You've got lining, insulation lining on the hull, then you've got timber panel lining where you can put, you know, mobile phones and so on, and then there is another soft panelled lining around the edge of the bed. The blinds have been done beautifully, set in nicely, and once again more overhead lockers. This boat has just been styled and designed really well. Hanging locker, over on the port side, plenty of storage. I like this boat. One thing I haven't given you is too many stats on it, have I? Draft as standard on this boat is 2.8 meters, which is 9.2 feet. There is a draft option of 2.4 meters, which is 7.10 feet, as we're going into the heads. The light displacement is just over 11 tons, which is, I think, in American money, £24,000, something like that. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Ballast is just over 3 tons, which is £7,000. The water capacity on this boat is 370 litres, which I think equates to 97 US gallons. And the fuel capacity is 240 litres, which I believe is 63 litres in US gallons. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that side of things. The engine as standard is a Yamaha 57 horsepower, 41.9 kilowatts. There is an engine option for a 80 horsepower engine. Unless you're going offshore, it's not something I would do. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I know this is a bit differently, and if you haven't seen it yet, here's what's coming up.